Hi, good morning. It's a pop-up version of the My Game show. Just doing a little thank you, really, I think, for people that have contributed to our webinars over the years. Last week, I just looked at all the stuff that we'd done, and I was just blown away by the amount of content, not coming from me. That's like blowing your own trumpet there a little bit, isn't it, really? But it's actually coming from the guests that I had, and I had some really good guests. So I wanted to just take some time out, I guess, just a minute or two to thank everybody that came on the show as my guest, and also to draw attention to what they spoke about, because then if you want to go and watch a recording of that video, and if you haven't, some of these, pretty good, I have to say, well, they're all very good, but some of them be relevant to you, I would imagine. Then it's very easy for you to, I'm going to tell you at the end how you can get access to those recordings. Okay, so breaking these teeth in for the dog this morning. Don't know what's going wrong. Let me just share my screen with you. And so what? This was my first guest. It's Nikki Larkin, and she came on in March. We were all a bit confused. No one really knew what was going on. She's an accountant, and she came on and she gave us tons of really practical and useful advice as to how you could get loans and how you could get sort of holidays on payments and various things, and also the sort of things that you should watch out for when you're running a business in dark times. So she was very useful. We then moved on to Les Phillips. He came on in April, and Les talked to us about extreme client care. Now, I think that's important at any point in a business, because if you look after your clients, they can become your best advocates, your best sales force, unpaid. They'll keep buying from you, and each year you've got a new foundation to build on. You don't have to replace the business that you've lost with new business before you can even move forward. So Les went through a really cool approach that he's used for years on extreme client care, and that went down really well. We then had double guests. We had Barry Hoffman, who's the HR director for Landsec in London, Land Securities, and we had Kathy Cooper, and she's the director of accounts for Jaguar Land Rover, and they came to talk to us about how small businesses can take on large businesses as clients. How can you win those large clients? And I tell you, this is probably the most controversial of the webinars that we did, because certainly Barry didn't pull any punches, told it exactly the way it was, and he didn't spare people's feelings too much. He just said, no, this is the deal, this is how it is, and it absolutely is. So that's well worth a listen if you are a small business and you do want to do business with large clients. Next, we went back in time with Matt Collingwood. Now, I just really enjoyed this. What Matt and I did was roll the clocks back a little bit, not for nostalgia. We rolled it back so that we could think of things that people did in recruitment in the past, kind of stopped doing now for various reasons, but if you brought them back, dusted them off a little bit, and put them in the modern world, you could do some great things. And one of my favorites was when he was talking about use of the telephone. Just slayed me. So if you want to know how you can steal a lead by being original, not by looking forward and thinking of what nobody does, because that's really hard, but looking back and to think what people did do and stopped, that's a really good webinar for that. Then we had, oh man, he was just such an interesting guy, Richard Mulligan. He'd been a hostage negotiator for the Met in London, Metropolitan Police, and he'd been all over the world, really, Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran and various places, negotiating the release of hostages. And he talked any people-related activity, management, recruitment, anything, the ability to really listen, deep listen. It's like a superpower, actually. And Richard is an expert, and he just went on and on. People kept asking him questions, and he's like thinking, "Oh man, I've got to go in a minute." But such an interesting presentation. If you want to really boost your sales skills at quite a low level, I would recommend rewatching that one. Then we had Wendy Merricks, who's been on the show before, and Elisa Hedegaard, who hasn't actually, but they came to talk to us about building a niche practice. Now, Wendy, as some of you already know, is at the pinnacle of the recruitment industry. She's magnificent. But what people perhaps don't know about her is she's very good at building and working a niche. I've seen her do it a few times, and she's just excellent at it. I brought in Elisa because she was not a recruiter. She's in the software business. But what I liked about the two of them together, though they sell different things, their approach was almost identical, and the advice they gave was just very, very closely aligned. So if you want to build a niche, I would recommend perhaps revisiting that one. Then we had Alan Kenney, who's my coach actually, and he came on and talked to us. It blew me away actually, because I was listening to him and forgot that I had to interview him. So I'm really absorbing all these ideas that he's got about how to attract and motivate and retain those high performers. And it's like, oh, I should ask him a question now, really, probably. But he was just brilliant, as he always is. I mean, he's a really good guest. He's a regular on the Mike Ames show. Now, last month, we had Matt Ellis, and Matt talked about how he'd productized his recruitment service and the massive benefits that he was reaping from that in terms of differentiation, in terms of de-skilling the ability to win new clients, which I thought was pretty cool. And also his ability to bring everybody together around one single thing, which was his product. I really enjoyed doing that one. And for a short time, it was in fact the biggest webinar with the most attendees that we'd had until this month, when we had Pancakes and Ian Denny, and they talked about turning LinkedIn contacts into clients. It's the biggest webinar we've ever done. We had the most attendees, we had the most registrants. And theirs was a mix, kind of a very low level tactical advice around using LinkedIn, particularly now LinkedIn, again, has changed the algorithm which decides how many people get to see your posts. But they also had a strategy, right? So they talk about the LinkedIn algorithm, but they talked about the human algorithm, which I really liked, particularly how you can engage people that you're connected with. And I think as well that, you know, when you look at someone who's this is live. Good morning, Richard. Pleased to see you. Lovely to see you, in fact. I really took a lot from this. And the notes, by the way, there's notes for all of these webinars. You can just download them. They're in PDF form. The notes from this are very good. I mean, they're good for all of them. It's like they're not good. For this one, they are. No, they're good for all of them. But this, I think, in terms of those people wanting to know how to turn their LinkedIn contacts into clients, bang on, absolutely bang on. Okay, that's pretty much it for this pop-up. Let me tell you how you can now get access to those webinars and the future webinars. So the easiest way to be invited to future webinars is to be on our email list. Now, I should just say, we don't spam you or anything like that. It's just to invite you to the webinars. It's GDPR compliant, 100%. So if you tell us that you want to come on it, we'll just invite you, and you come then if you want. It's of interest, or you don't if you don't. Absolutely fine. All our webinars, or the vast majority, have special guests, unless there's a subject I want to go deep on, in which case me and the team will do that. But mostly special guests. For example, in January, we have John Brooks. He's going to talk about pricing strategies. So if you find your margins or prices being squeezed or reduced, check that out, because he's going to talk to us about how you can stop that from happening, maybe even reverse it. So that's going to be pretty good. All the subjects we covered are relate to business growth. It's all about business growth, right? So every aspect of it all, from your team to winning new clients, to your proposition, to the content that you produce, communications, all of it is around basically business growth, producing a scalable business to make it whatever you want it to be. And also, we'll show you how you can get access to those previous recordings. So any of the webinars that I've talked about today that you think to yourself that you would like to access and watch again, or watch for the first time, then all you need to do is this. You just put comment. Let me just get rid of that. There you go. You just put a comment of webinar, wherever you're watching this, on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Just reply with webinar and we'll add you to the list. Or you can just email me, mikeames@flair.co.uk, and I'll add you to the list. Do stress, we're not spammers. It's not how we roll at all. So we're just going to send you invitations to the events that we run that you can come to or not. It depends on what you think. Okay, that's pretty much it. This was only meant to be a very quick pop-up, just to say thank you to all of my guests this year. and to look forward as well to next year when we're already talking to some really good guests as well. So I really want to make next year just as good, perhaps even better. Can it be such a thing than the 2020 series? So, okay, well, that's it. I shall wish you adieu. See you on Thursday for the Mike A show proper. This week, we're going to be talking about the Flair team, really. It's our last week in 2020. So we're just going to just answer questions about us. If you wondered what we do, what it's like to work in a family business, check us out. 12:30 on Thursday. I'll see you there.